I would like to ask, because I've had a couple of issues, where people discuss that my children are not here. I'm an international student. I just came around, and it's quite pathetic when I hear some of these things. But the point is, there's no clear cut of how children are meant to be disciplined. Sometimes they talk about verbal abuse. There are children you need to raise your voice a little bit and be firm when you speak to them before they actually heed what you want them to do. So sometimes these children go to school and their teachers, because most of the reports the social workers have basically come from school, from my understanding, from the things I've heard. Now, these children are being probed, are being asked by their teachers, do your parents shout at you? Do they raise their voices when they talk to you? Do they do this? Do they do that? Sometimes some of the interrogations, I don't think they are called for from the issues I've heard. And when you talk to a little child, a minor, in that way, you can actually incense the child. You can make the child believe he's being victimized or being abused verbally, which might not exactly be the case. There are some children you tell, please, can you sit down? And the child begins to jump all over the place. You need to show you are a parent is in a place of authority. You have to firmly tell your child to please sit down. And I don't see that as verbal abuse. So there has to be a clear-cut definition of what verbal abuse is. And I think the schools should actually get out of the way of families by asking children, why do you sound like this? Apparently your mother talks to you like that. That is what children also pick up things from schools, and it should be well noted when those things are on ground. That's exactly what I want to say.
And Ola mentioned that as well, that we need to do more in terms of early help to try and prevent children from going into care in the first place, trying to stop it at the front end so we do preventative work, because prevention is always better than cure. If we can avoid children having to go into care in the first place and we can deal with the issues that families are facing, then that's so much the better.
The first thing is social services have a phone number, and when you ring that, there's not much point really, unless you have a social worker and you know the name of the social worker, because you get an answering machine and it says, name your social worker. No, I don't want a social worker, I want to speak to somebody. Then it says, report an incident. No, I don't want to report an incident, I want to speak to somebody. So if any of you have Googled this or gone on the website and you've found a phone number and it's no use to you, I know about it now, and I'm going to put that right when I get back to the town hall, because I like to speak to human beings, and I'm sure you do as well. Secondly, Children's Services had an Ofsted report on the 8th of July. I'm sure everybody would like to know the result of that. Unfortunately, because we haven't had the official response yet, I can't discuss that. Of course, once it does become public, it'll be on the Middlesbrough website and people will be able to look it up and ask questions about it. Moving on from that, after that Ofsted inspection, I met with concerned families. They raised several issues with me, and again, for data protection and their privacy, I can't discuss those, but they did come to me in confidence. I have spoken, I am taking up several activities on their behalves. The full financial report, people have shown an interest in that. That will be going to the executive on the 3rd of September. And again, that will then be available once it's been officially received for public scrutiny. And the last thing I would like to say, which you've already heard actually, is I only represent Middlesbrough Council. I can't do anything about national issues unless I write as a private individual. I can't do anything about international incidents unless I write as a private individual. However, as Councillor Story has said, we do have an MP, Andy MacDonald, and if anybody has national and international concerns, I would recommend that you take it to our MP.
To round it up, what is the way forward?
I'm not an expert on anything, but what I've watched here today is quite frightening, where the lady in the middle talks down to anybody that opposes what she does. She's saying that these things don't exist. She's shaking her head all the time, when obviously they do. I believe this guy because I don't know him, I don't know any of them, but I do know that when children are abused they need looking after, and these guys are doing the best. They've gone right away through all the systems that you put in their places, and they've come out the other side and they're getting no help at all to get the children back. And that should be the first object of your department, is to get the children back where they belong, where they're loved, and where they get their hair combed and their hair cut. And if something's sadly wrong, go back to Marietta Higgs. That's what I remember. Marietta Higgs. She was saying that children got abused, and she was abusing her own children to prove that there was anal reflexology. That's what's wrong with social services. You defend yourselves and you make your own systems and your own lies. Thank you.